Even in modern times, justice prevails. What better example to quote for this than the breaking news that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have taken a huge career decision by stepping down from the anti-child sex abuse charity Thorn. This is amid support for convicted co-star Danny Masterson. Ashton Kutcher took the life-changing decision by resigning from the charity that he had founded to tackle child sexual abuse. This is after an outrage over a support letter written by Kutcher to a judge after Danny Masterson was convicted of rape. A similar letter was sent by actress Mila Kunis, who is Kutcher's wife. The news that was initially reported by Time said that Kutcher sent a letter to Thorn's board on the 14th of September 2023. Writing in his resignation to the charity, Kutcher said that his support letter was actually an error in his judgment of what was right and wrong. He wrote in this letter, "The responsible thing for me to do is resign as chairman of the board, effective immediately." You might know how Masterson was given a life sentence of 30 years in prison for raping 2 women. Unfortunately, Kutcher and Kunis both wrote letters asking for leniency in sentencing for Masterson after they got to know that their colleague was convicted on 2 rape counts. The letters went viral on social media instantly after they were obtained by independent journalist Tony Ortega. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Charlene F. Almeida passed down the sentence to Masterson after hearing statements from the women and pleas for fairness from defense attorneys. Both rapes took place in Danny's Hollywood area home in 2003 when he was at the peak of his career on the Fox network sitcom That 70s Show. The victims testified that Danny drugged them before violently raping them. Kutcher said that his decision to resign from the board of Thorn was in alignment after a thorough understanding of the recent events. The resignation letter of Ashton Kutcher was also posted online, which read, quote, "After my wife and I spent several days of listening, personal reflection, learning, and conversations with survivors and the employees and leadership at Thorn, I have determined the responsible thing for me to do is resign as chairman of the board, effective immediately." End quote. Kutcher said in the resignation letter that he could not allow his judgment error to distract from the organization's efforts and the children that they serve. Founded by Kutcher and ex-wife Demi Moore in 2012, Thorn concentrates on battling the sexual exploitation of children. The organization focuses its operations on the internet and plays a huge role in removing material related to child sexual abuse and sexual slavery. As of now, the charity claims to have found 27,000 child victims and removed more than 2 million possibly sexual abuse files from the internet. In his resignation letter, Kutcher mentioned how his letter of support for Masterson, in which he described him as a person who treated people with decency and generosity, was yet another painful example of questioning victims who came forward to share their unfortunate experiences courageously. Shortly after, Mila Kunis too resigned from her post as an observer in the board. Since the time Kutcher and Kunis's letters hit the internet, several people called them to resign from the organization. Even one of the fearless women who came forward in the Masterson trial said that this move by Kutcher and Kunis wasn't sufficient, and she also went on to claim that neither she nor the other women involved in the trial received any sort of apology from Kunis or Kutcher. She wrote on X, quote, "Wow, but still not a single solitary apology to Chrissy, Jen, and myself. Ashton and Mila, you are breathtakingly fraudulent beings. Keep learning, I guess," end quote, and further added, quote, "or an apology to all of Danny's victims. How about that? There are many, and they all matter," end quote. It looks like Kutcher and Kunis are going to face more challenging times ahead after they thought that supporting their co-star and Scientologist Danny Masterson was the right move in the past. But it's not just Kutcher and Kunis who have extended their support to Masterson. Before Masterson was sentenced to 30 years of life in prison due to this conviction on 2 rape counts in Los Angeles, many of his That 70s Show castmates, including Deborah Jo Rupp and Kurtwood Smith, had written letters to the judge, hoping that it would reduce his prison term. In the letter, Kutcher referred to Masterson as a role model and extraordinarily honest, further adding, "He is among few people that I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter," whom he shares with Kunis. Kunis compared Masterson as an older brother figure. His dedication to avoiding all substances has inspired not only me, but also countless others in our circle, she wrote. Danny's steadfastness in promoting a drug-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey through the entertainment world and has helped me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices. Kunis and Kutcher also explained in their apology videos that their support letters for Masterson were because Masterson's family requested them to write them in order to represent the individual that they have known for 25 years, and also it would influence the judge to consider their letter in full consideration before announcing the sentencing for jail term. Kutcher said that the letters were, quote, not to undermine the testimony of the victims or traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that, and we're sorry if that has taken place, end quote. Kunis added, quote, our hearts go out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape, end quote. Again, the video was poorly received. While Kutcher turned off comments on the original Instagram post, people took to other platforms to express their frustrations. Quote, Ashton and Mila made a point in that video to say the letters were never intended to be made public. Had they remained private, they would have been all too happy to send them, end quote, wrote one person. Quote, Masterson can be and do all of these things and still be a rapist deserving of punishment. It's people like Ashton and Mila that perpetuate the idea that rapists are always creeps hiding in alleys, when in reality they're usually good people in positions of power, end quote, said a second. Quote, Ashton and Mila can take their fake-ass apology and shove it. We support victims unless they were raped by your buddy, right? End quote, wrote a third. However, followers of Kutcher and Kunis didn't agree with those explanations. They criticized the couple and their relationship. Critics also noted how Kutcher and Kunis, who got married in 2015 and shared 2 daughters, are said to have a saving grace financially in the Fox cartoon sitcom Family Guy. It's Mila who's voicing the character Meg, which seems to have helped them financially during these difficult times ahead. It was also reported how the cast and crew of Family Guy are supporting Mila so that she can work on that project forever. They legitimately feel like they're getting canceled, a source reported to DailyMail.com exclusively. Ashton has been keeping a low key since the past weekend, as people are railing against them, and it won't be an easy time sooner. Both Ashton and Mila are hoping that once the damage of all that was spoken by them, written by them, and shared on social media platforms comes down, they will be able to move on from the criticism, although they still have doubts regarding getting future work in film and TV. Coming back to Masterson's case, he was convicted after 2 trials, one ending in a mistrial with a deadlocked jury in November 2022, and the second trial involved Masterson getting convicted for raping 2 of the 3 women. All the accusers of Masterson's trial were members of the Church of Scientology. Although prosecutors alleged that the organization helped Masterson in covering up the allegations, the church has denied the same. Danny Masterson has always maintained his innocence, but in May 2023, he was convicted on 2 counts of rape that happened 2 decades before. During his Los Angeles trial, the jury couldn't call a verdict on a 3rd rape allegation from 2001. Masterson was sentenced to 3 decades behind bars on September 7, 2023. Kutcher, Kunis, and Masterson's past history is being dug out as several interviews from the 70s show heyday are being reevaluated to find proof presenting an environment of uncomfortable sexualization on the set. One cannot deny how Kunis started working as a minor child. One can also find some information from their 2002 video in which the 2 now married stars joke about Masterson's placing a bet for Kutcher to kiss Kunis, which has a lighthearted tone. Speaking about Danny Masterson, even his former stepfather, Joe Riach, has agreed how the famous star has walked down the wrong road after attaining fame in Hollywood. Referring to the downfall of the 47-year-old Danny as the dark side of Hollywood, Riach spoke to Us Weekly for the exclusive understanding of how the actor is not the same good kid he once raised. Do you think Ashton and Mila deserve the severe backlash despite apologizing for supporting the wrong person? Share your views with us in the comments. Click on like and subscribe on our channel.